Have you noticed that every year, about the month of March, things out of doors begin to change? In the northern part of the United States, the winter snow melts under the warmth of the sun. Farmers start to plow their fields. Birds return to build their nests in the trees. And flowers and leaves begin to grow. This is spring, the favorite time of year for many people, because it is growing warmer and more pleasant outdoors, and the days are becoming longer. But some people like summer better. That's when vacation begins, and the days are longest and warmest. It's the time for swimming. Autumn is the favorite season for others. It's harvest time, and the days grow cooler and shorter. The leaves turn red and yellow and begin to fall from the trees. But many think wintertime is the season with the most fun. Up north, snow covers the whole countryside. There is sledding and a chance to build a big snowman. Yes, each of the 4 seasons is the favorite season for some, and so it's a good thing that the seasons do change regularly. But why do the seasons change? For instance, why don't we have summer all year? Well, let's see if we can discover the reason. First, what do we know about summer? Of course, it's very warm, often hot. And the daytime hours are so long that we can play in the daylight until late in the evening. While in the winter it gets dark so early that we often have to put our lights on before the end of the afternoon. Long days in the summer and short days in the winter. The length of the day is always changing with the seasons. Does this have something to do with the seasons? Let's see. We already know what causes day and night. It is because the Earth is always turning, once every 24 hours. The center upon which the Earth turns is called its axis. Of course, the axis is only an imaginary line through the Earth from the North Pole to the South Pole. It doesn't really exist. Do you notice, though, that the axis about which the Earth turns is not straight up and down? It's tilted to one side at an angle of 23.5 degrees from the perpendicular. This has a lot to do with why we have different seasons, as we shall see. As the Earth rotates on its axis, it is also moving in a great wide path around the sun. It takes a whole year, about 365 days, for the Earth to make this complete trip. And while it's going around the sun, the Earth's axis is always pointed in the same direction, toward the North Star. At about the 21st of June every year, the Earth reaches this position in its path around the sun. The North Pole is now tilted toward the sun. And so we, who live on the northern part of the Earth, are in the sun's light more hours than we are in darkness. Watch. This means we have long days and short nights. Because we have the sun's warm rays for so many hours each day, this part of the Earth gets warm, and the summer season begins. Many of us like to cool off at the beach. As the Earth moves around the sun, the axis remains tilted in the same direction, but gradually our days become shorter. 6 months later, about December 22nd, the Earth reaches this position. Now the northern part of the Earth is tilted away from the sun. We are in darkness longer than in light. Our nights are now long, and our days are short. Because the sun has less hours in which to warm this part of the world, we now have winter. And snow covers much of our countryside. As the Earth moves further along in its path, our days begin to grow longer again. About March 21st, halfway between summer and winter, the Earth's axis is tilted neither towards nor away from the sun. If we looked at the Earth from this direction, we would see that now our country is in darkness the same length of time it is in the light. There is now equal night and equal daylight, so it is neither very cold nor very warm at this time. This is the beginning of spring for us. The days are mild and pleasant. As the Earth keeps moving in its orbit, the days grow longer, and once more we have summer. Then the days gradually grow shorter until about September 23rd, when the axis is again tilted neither towards nor away from the sun. We have equal daylight and equal night once more. This is the autumn season for us. The days are growing cooler, and people are beginning to think about the winter season ahead. The Earth moves on, the days growing shorter for winter, then gradually longer for spring, and still longer to give us summer. But the changing length of daytime is not the entire explanation for our changing seasons. There are other factors too. Have you noticed that in summer the sun rises high and its rays seem to be very hot? While in winter the sun doesn't rise nearly as high and its rays are not nearly as warm. Let's see why this is so. In June, the rays of the sun hit our country directly, like this. But when the Earth moves around to December, because of the tilt of the Earth's axis, our country is here at noon. And instead of the sun's rays hitting us directly, like this, they hit us at a slant, like this. Using a flashlight, you can see for yourself that direct rays are concentrated on a smaller area than slanted rays. This is why direct rays produce more heat. For that reason, the sun's rays are hottest when they shine directly on the Earth, as in summer, and less warm when they strike the surface at a slant, as in winter. Direct rays are hotter than slanting rays for another reason, too. The layer of atmosphere around the Earth absorbs some of the heat from the sun's rays as they pass through it. But notice that the slanting rays have much more atmosphere to pass through than the direct rays. For this reason, the slanting rays lose more of their heat to the atmosphere and are therefore less hot than the direct rays. And so when the Earth is in this position and we receive the rays of the sun at a slant, we are having our winter season. But does all the Earth have winter at the same time? Our country, as you know, is on the half of the Earth above the equator, called the Northern Hemisphere. There are other people who live in countries below the equator in the Southern Hemisphere. In this part of the world, for instance, is a country called Chile. When we are receiving the sun's rays at a slant, because our part of the Earth is tilted away from the sun, Chile is receiving the hotter direct rays because that part of the Earth is tilted towards the sun. And when our daytime is short, Chile is in the sun's warm light for many more hours of the day. We are having winter, but Chile has the warm days of its summer. While many of us in our country are enjoying our Christmas vacation in the snow, in Chile, children spend Christmas swimming because Christmas comes in the summertime for them. 6 months later, when our part of the Earth is tilted towards the sun, We get the hot, direct rays, and Chile gets the cooler, slanted rays. Now it is summer for us and winter in Chile. If the Earth could stop in its path around the sun, we wouldn't have any change of seasons. If it stopped here, our country would have winter all the time, and Chile would have summer all the time. But our Earth never stops. Soon winter changes to spring, and spring to summer, as the Earth goes on around the sun. It is the tilted axis of the Earth which causes our days to be longer or shorter, and which causes the sun's rays to strike us directly in summer and at a slant in winter, giving us the 4 seasons as the Earth moves on and on around the sun.